on the steps of our Capitol in my hometown, Sacramento. I want to give a shout out to the parents of Fortune School and to all of the parents who showed up today, rain or shine. Give yourselves a shout out. You know, I've had the pleasure of working for two California governors, one Democrat and one Republican. And I can remember this Capitol being surrounded by advocates that are the keepers of the status quo. They will rattle your cage. They will knock on your door. They'll drive by your office. They'll stand in front of your children. They'll stand in between your children and opportunity. And they'll never go away. They'll declare it a state of emergency. But what is the emergency in this state? The emergency is that millions of children are going undereducated in a broken public school system, and the innovators that stand before us today fight battles that nobody ought to fight in order to get their kids educated. And so what must you do? What must you do? You must rattle the cage for reform with as much intensity as those that are protecting the status quo will fight to keep things the same because it advantages us, not because it advantages them, not us. We have to fight for our kids. These will be uncomfortable times. We know that. We fight at school board meetings. We stay up all night at these meetings demanding change. We stay up all night preparing for the kids. We make a commitment and a pledge to do whatever it takes. How many of you have made that pledge? Yeah. This is a government in which the squeaky wheel gets the oil. It's time for the parents of the children of charter schools to make their presence known. To make their presence known in the halls of this Capitol like you've done this week. But you have to be relentless. There are children who have lost their lives because our public schools have not served them well. And yet in the halls of charter schools, we're having a very different conversation. Charter schools are the beacon of hope. Right now, in a time when public schools are beleaguered, the innovators, the fighters, the warriors, the believers in hope, and the miracle makers. All you're asking for is what you are entitled to, and that is what's fair. Fair and equitable funding for charter schools. Make some noise.
Thank you, Margaret. We have many wonderful supporters of charter schools here today, and at this time I want to acknowledge Norman Gonzalez, who's behind me. He's here at the rally on behalf of Congressman Tom McClintock, who has been a tremendous supporter of charter schools. So let's give Norman and the Congressman a round of applause. And it is now my great pleasure to introduce to you perhaps the most important supporter of charter schools in California, Governor Jerry Brown. Before him, Governor Brown knows intimately the struggles facing California charter schools. He started two of his own in Oakland, including Oakland Military Institute, who you heard from earlier. In his first year in office, Governor Brown has strongly supported charter schools. And while he works to restore California's fiscal house, his proposed budget starts to level the playing field for charter public schools. Please, once again, welcome our friend, Governor Jerry Brown.
Thank you. Okay, well, this is quite a crowd. It's cold, but the heat from your intensity and enthusiasm is already warming me up. So, yes, I did start out as mayor and look around and say we need a charter school in Oakland, and we got one. The Oakland Military School, are those cadets still here? They march off into the wilderness. They're back into Oakland. Okay. And that was a struggle. We had to not only go to the local school board, they said no. Then we went to the county board, and they unanimously said no. And then I had to come to the state board, and they unanimously said yes. So, but sometimes births are associated with pain. But after the pain comes the joy and the excitement of some new being in reality, and that's what charter schools are in California. And I wanted to say in that respect, thank you very much for supporting my proposed tax initiative that will bring more money to the schools of California and fix our budget, finally. We need your support. We need the support of all the teachers and the supporters of the public schools of California. The important point to know is that we got to pull together. I just came back in Washington. The Republicans don't talk to the Democrats. Our country is facing tremendous challenges, and people fight over their party, over their ideology, over what part of the country they come from. So in California, let's show people that we can pull together, not as Republicans or as Democrats or as charter schools or as the Unified School District, but as Californians first, supporting the creativity and the kids and the future of this state. We can do it together. Together we can overcome, and we will. One thing I like about a charter school is anybody can put a charter together with their own particular idea. And so it's power coming up, not from the bottom, not power coming down from the top. And that's a very important counterforce. So that's what you represent. You're rebels out there, insurgents. But you're kind of insurging against us. We're the establishment here. So you keep pushing us, and we'll keep pulling, and together we're going to have good charter schools, good public schools everywhere, and a better California. Thank you very much.